Still got a problem with the microphone, waiting for a new one to be delivered, so I'll have to hold this one pretty close to my mouth so you can hear me. Especially with the waves being so strong, it's quite windy down here and strong tide. Okay, it's been a week today since Thailand opened its doors to tourists. With if you've had your double vaccinations and you pass your COVID test, you can come here without quarantine. So I've come down here to Lamai Beach to see if there's been any more tourists in the last week than what there was the week before. Well, as you can see, there's no great influx of tourists. There's one lady laying up there on a sunbed, but there's no one laying down here. The beach is just deserted, as it was a week ago. According to TAT, which is the Tourist Authority of Thailand, up until yesterday, between the 1st and the 7th of November, 16,000 people entered Thailand. And they've said that 16,000 tourists have entered Thailand. But that is probably not a true statement, because a lot of those people would be expat retirees returning home to live here again after an enforced exile. Many of them went back last year or 6 months ago or whatever and got stuck there because they weren't allowed back in the country. So many of those 16,000 would be returning people from their home countries to live back in Thailand again, either retirees or expats who work here, or expats who can afford to live here without working, I suppose, and maybe digital nomads as well. What TAT have said, the majority of the people arriving were from the USA, the UK, Germany and Japan. And according to the Thai government, 65,000 people have registered for the new Thailand pass. So that could mean that 65,000 people are coming soon, or it could mean that they've registered now and maybe want to come later in the year, after Christmas or January, when the winters are colder in Europe. But that remains to be seen. But I'm quite disappointed that I thought I would see more tourists. I thought I would see more places open, but all the same places that were closed last week are closed now. I've walked up and down the beach and I've found nothing new open. No hotels that were closed for COVID have reopened on this stretch of beach anyway. Look, it's not all doom and gloom. I'm hoping that, it's only been a week and it's winter in Europe, it's winter in most parts of the USA, Florida and some of the southern states still having some good weather, but Europe, UK and most parts of the USA will be, and Canada of course, the snowbirds from Canada, they'll be looking for maybe to try and get out of their countries for a few weeks or a few months to soak up the sun somewhere. What I'll do now, I'll take a drive through Lamai and see if there's many people walking the streets. Maybe there's people haven't come to the beach there. It's not that good a day. It's been raining off and on all morning. It's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'll take a drive through Lamai and see if there's any more tourists walking around the streets, and see if there's any shops reopened that weren't open this time last week. Okay, I'm walking back towards my motorbike to take a drive through Lamai. I'll just point this out to you. I'd never seen, in all my years of coming to Thailand and the 5 years I've lived here, I've never seen homeless people before. Now, it's not many, but there's people living on the beaches now. Thai people lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods. and can't afford rent. This one here has been there for probably about a month now. And if you see this little, it's a little shrine actually. It's a Buddhist shrine, and there's people living under there. They've been staying there for quite a while. Fair play to the police. They haven't come in and thrown them out. But I'm just pointing out that COVID has definitely been a big problem here for the people, as it is in other countries. But other countries, even before COVID, there was homeless. I remember years ago in Sydney, and when I was in San Francisco a few years ago, and New York, London, of course, many homeless people. But we don't get that in Thailand. Starting to get a few, but nothing really to say that the country's in dire straits. People here still tend to look after each other. Maybe these people don't have family. Perhaps that's why they have to live rough. But anyone who has family, normally they go back to their village and they'll be looked after. That's the way of Thai people. Just point this one out as well. This hotel closed up, hasn't reopened. It's looking in a very bad state of repairs. It's for lease, but I don't think, well, if you did lease it, you'd get it very cheap. You'd need to pour a lot of money into it to get it back up and running. And then you're also taking the risk that the tourism is going to come back big time like it did before. Because for a big hotel, you need a lot of tourists. Yeah, so that little place there, that little shrine, that's also for homeless people who've moved in. But you don't see them on the streets. I've seen people outside 7-Elevens asking for money for food. And I don't give them money, but what I do, I go inside and I buy something for them to eat. I'll buy them some noodles, or I'll buy them one of those ready prepared meals, and I'll give them that when I come out from doing my shopping, rather than give them money. Because I mean, I don't know, but I know in places like San Francisco or London, you give them money. Sometimes it wasn't spent on food, it was spent on alcohol. So that's what I do personally. If I see someone who's outside, I always help because I'm in a position to help them. I'm not mean when it comes to money like that. Thailand has accepted me, and it's my way of paying back a little bit. If someone is in need of a meal, I'm quite happy to pay that for them. We're only talking a few cents. We're not talking taking them to a high-end restaurant and just from 7-Eleven, spend 100 baht, $4, and they have a meal that day. So I'll go and have a look, drive through Lamai and see if it's any different to 1 week ago before Thailand reopened its doors to tourism. So this is the street, leads from the beach to Walking Street, which is the main street of Lamai. A lot of streets in Thailand, in towns, are called Walking Street, and that's normally the main area of town. They call it Walking Street. So down this way there's a lot of massage shops on the left hand side here. A lot of massage shops down here. They're no business by the look of it, very quiet. And then as we get round this little corner, there's normally hotels and restaurants that would normally be open. So we'll drive down there and see if there's been any improvement on 1 week ago. That one's closed. One on the right there. Sorry, I can't point the camera because it's on the motorbike. I'm just trying to see if there's anything that wasn't open last week that's open now, but so far, no, nothing. Everything looks closed up. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. This is a one-way street, by the way. You wouldn't know it because traffic goes both ways, but if you see the arrows, they're pointing one way. But I'll put my hand up and tell you I do the same, because that's how you drive in Thailand. If you go by the rules, you'll never be able to get anywhere. So that place is still closed there. Yeah, this is no different to a week ago. Same shops open, usual suspects. But it'll be interesting to see if this bar area's got any bars open, but no, they haven't stocked up. No. Normally the shelves would be stocked and someone would be sat there now by 2 o'clock. I'll go down this little street here next to McDonald's. McDonald's is still closed by the look of it. Yep, still closed. This used to be a bar area. It might have opened up now from the first. There might be some bars open. Let's have a look. Oh, it looks like they're setting up there. Yeah, it looks like this area is starting to get ready for... Oh yeah, there's a bar open, look. Yeah, so yes, it looks like that. It looks like this area, if any, is starting to get 2 or 3 bars open, which is an improvement on last week. Buddy cab, I come back later. Yeah, looks like they're... So a little bit of an improvement there. For bars. Look at that, maybe doing 80 in a small street like this. But no, everything else is more or less the same as a week ago. 7-Eleven open there, but that was open before. Looks like that. Oh, they're getting that shop ready to be open by the look of it. I don't know what it's going to be. That used to be a family store. There, it looks like they're getting it ready. They've got a room for renting on top, but it looks maybe going back to being a family store again. We'll have a drive up this way. This is another busy street, or used to be, for bars. This here on the left-hand side is the main bar area. One of the main bar areas, but I'll come back tonight. Maybe they'll be open. A few of the bars in there. Massage shops along here, they've been open since COVID began. They haven't closed and they're still open now, so nothing's changed there. But I think it's quite a pleasing sign that a couple of bars have opened. Obviously they've managed to be classed as a green zone. Their staff must be fully vaccinated and take COVID test twice a week. I'll drive back and see what else I can see. This is one-way street as well, but as I say, no one takes any notice. It's only the arrows that tell you it's a one-way, and in practice it's not. A little bit different. Looks like that shop there's starting to get ready to open. This is the lady bar area I was telling you about, but it looks like they haven't got any shelves stocked, so they haven't decided to open as yet. It's only early, it's only 2 o'clock, but before COVID these would be open from about 11 o'clock in the morning, but those that do open won't open until probably about 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon, I would think. Okay, well that's all there is to report. This is one-way street. I'm breaking the law, but in any other country it would be breaking the law. Well, any other Western country, but here it's par for the course. People don't take notice. And traffic are coming this way are used to it. They don't beep the horn at you and say you're going the wrong way, because they do the same themselves when they're heading this way. So I've come to this little secluded bay, just over that way. There, there's Muslim village, and a little bit behind there is Lamai, only about a 10-minute drive from Lamai Central, where I've just come from. Tides in, quite rough seas today. Maybe that's because of all the rain we're having. I'll just give you a recap of my take on what's happening with this new scheme for opening up Thailand. I stopped at 7-Eleven, I've got myself a beer. Oh, so nice. Might be overcast, but that makes it even more humid. It's very hot here and humid because of the low cloud. Okay, from what my take of this is that yes, they've opened up everything again. It's fully open for people coming into Thailand. I spoke with someone who moved in next door to me, a man from the USA, from Alaska actually. He told me yesterday he just came in 2 days before from Alaska. He said he'd been trying to get in for quite a while, but this was his first opportunity, and he said that getting here wasn't too much of a problem, leaving from Alaska to getting to Bangkok. But he said when you got to Bangkok it was it took a long time to get through all the paperwork. He said when you got off the plane was fairly full, he said, because it's I think he said he got a flight to the Middle East somewhere, and then a direct flight from there to Bangkok. So the plane was quite full, but when he got off the plane there were seats laid out with social distancing, and the whole of the plane had to sit there and then be vetted by the immigration and the doctors and medical people to make sure that everything was okay, all their paperwork. And then when they left there, they then had to do it all again at immigration and customs. And so he said he was there a long time, but then it always went straight forward after that. He spent 24 hours in the hotel. The hotel car picked him up and took him to the hotel, and then the next morning he had the result from his COVID, which was negative, and he then flew down to Koh Samui. Entering here was no problem. He told me that because he had all the paperwork from the airport, he more or less pushed him straight through. So he's here now and he's very happy. He's escaped the Alaskan winter, and he's going to spend most of his time here now. He's retired. So yes, my take on it is that yes, we're open, yes, people are coming, but in a very small trickle of people, because a lot of people haven't got the money. It's not just opening the doors and saying everyone come on, come in. A lot of people would love to, but they've lost their jobs, lost their businesses, and they have no money to come. Others are thinking, yeah, I want to come, but I don't want to spend all that money flying there, staying a night in a hotel, flying down to Koh Samui or flying down to Phuket out of Bangkok or Pattaya, and then finding there's nothing to do when I get here apart from the beaches. So I think it's going to be a little while before it'll take off. If COVID stays down, doesn't raise its ugly head again like it did in April, if the numbers keep going down, people will get more confidence, and I think we'll see people coming back to Thailand again soon. Then that's a flow-on effect. Then shopkeepers will see that and they'll start to open their shops. Maybe people will come from Europe or Japan or China and start looking at buying all these cheap businesses that are going, these empty shops, these empty hotels, which are obviously going for a song. When tourism comes back, whoever gets them will make a lot of money. But it's a gamble because no one knows when tourism is going to come back. You could do it now, you could get a shop, fit it out and think, okay, another few months, things should, and then there's another spike and the country closes up again and you're sat on an empty shop again. So my take on it is, yes, it'll work, but you need to open up Thailand. You need to, if the government has the confidence that COVID isn't coming here, that they can prevent it if it does, then they need to open it up and say, okay, we're open. The bars are open, the restaurants are open. If you want to go on a jet ski, you can. If you want to travel throughout Thailand, it's easy. You don't have to think, well, how am I going to get there, because there's no buses running because of COVID. Or there's hardly any flights. So yeah, I think it'll work as long as COVID keeps its ugly head down, and as long as the government have the balls to say, okay, we're open for business.
Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please push the subscribe button and the thumbs up button. If you know anyone who might be interested in viewing my channel, please push the link button and send them the link. And if you're thinking of retiring or spending any length of time in Thailand, please take a look at my book, The Retiring Thailand Handbook, the first 6 months. So I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and stay safe. Cheers now.